You're at the end of a sales call. You're not good enough to take the credit card and actually close it. So you're going for a deposit. You're going for scraps. How do you do it? Let's talk about it. Jokes aside though, there are moments in sales where we cannot logistically close a deal, but letting them hop off with no form of commitment is not the best thing for them, and it's obviously not the best thing for you. So what do we need to go for? A deposit. How do we get it? Well, it's really two things we need to understand, okay? So if you don't know me, I'm Temple Naylor. I've trained thousands of sales reps to collect hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month. And through that, I've noticed a series of patterns of what people do wrong when they are going for deposits on sales calls. And it's really two things, okay? So the first thing, tell, do not ask. Okay, so when most people go for a deposit, this is what they do. Okay, well, what would be best at this part of the call is can we put our fundable deposit of $500, maybe if you're okay with it, and then we move forward and meet again in 2 weeks? Do not do this. You never ask the prospect for a deposit, okay? Now I know I'm exaggerating there for comedic effect because that's just how funny I am, but the biggest thing we need to realize is if you're asking the prospect for a deposit, you're giving them an out to say no. So you do not want to say, okay, Mr. Prospect, well, would you be open to, in this case, we'll put a $500 deposit down and then we can get started again in 2 weeks. What do you think they're going to say? No, right? There's no reason for them to say yes to you. So what I do is I tell them. I act like this is part of the process. We do this for every scenario like this, and there's no option B. Okay, so how does that sound? Okay, well, in this case, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put down a refundable deposit of $500. I'll get the process rolling on our end, and we'll set our onboard date for 2 weeks from now to get the process ready for the rest. What's a good email to send the receipt of deposit to? So do you see that? Is I'm telling them, I'm not asking. My certainty is there, and they're more likely to comply and follow the process because I am taking the lead. So sales and dating are the same exact thing, right? I always compare the two, and my reps I train honestly get tired of it, but it is the truth, right? So if you're asking a girl, let's say you're on a date, beautiful girl, red dress, looking amazing, 10 out of 10 that night, right? You want to take her home, you horn dog, I don't blame you. Well, how do you do it? Well, you do not say, well, would you want to come back to my house maybe? We could watch a movie, I don't know. What do you think she's gonna say? No, you're a loser, right? So instead, what you're gonna do is you're gonna tell her, okay, well, we're wrapping up dinner here, let's get the check. I actually have a jacuzzi in my place, a couple bottles of wine, we'll pick your favorite bottle, and I actually have a movie I think we love. Let's head back. So what do you think she's gonna say that, right? You're gonna have a much higher compliant rate, assuming that you did your job and the date went well and you sold yourself well enough. Just like a sales call, right? You sell yourself well enough in the sales call, getting deposit should not be a problem. If they give you resistance to getting deposit, it's probably not because they're actually wanting to move forward. They're giving you a smokescreen objection. So something to be aware of, right? But point number one being, we tell, we do not ask. Leadership is what gets sales, okay? Not asking for permission. Now here's the second point that's really important when we're getting deposits. We need to give them something of equal exchange in value for the deposit. Now I know this sounds crazy, hear me out. I'm about to say something really crazy and wild here, okay? Don't cancel me. But in economic world, if you want something, you gotta pay for it. And if they're gonna give something away, you have to get paid for it. Isn't that a weird concept, right? In order to take someone's money, you have to give something in exchange. I know that sounds crazy. I know. Temple, what the fuck? You're saying wild shit on this YouTube video. But for some reason, on sales calls, closers just have it in their head that they can just take deposits from prospects and they'll just say yes and off and just give their money for no reason. It doesn't work like that. So what you need to do is give them something of equal exchange for that deposit. So for example, let's say you have an agency, right? A done-for-you agency, a marketing agency. In this case, what I would say is, okay, so in this case, what we're gonna do is a refundable deposit of $500. There's actually a lot of work we need to set up on our end in terms of your accounts and your process and your ads. So we'll get that process rolling behind the scenes for you. So when you return in 2 weeks and ready to get started, we'll already have it ready and we can just hit the go trigger on day one and you lose no time whatsoever. So do you see I'm giving them something of equal exchange and value? Now let's say I have a coaching offer, it's a dating coaching offer, right? Like, okay, cool, no worries, man, that you have this vacation, or that wouldn't be a good excuse, whatever. No worries, you have this vacation coming up for a month. What we'll do in this case, we'll just do a refundable deposit of $500. I'll actually give you a free training and masterclass on how to cold approach people on vacation. And so that way you can actually start getting some practice, start getting some momentum going with girls. So when you come back to your local city, you already actually have some experience and you feel more confident hitting the ground running with me. So do you see, is I'm giving them something in return. So the biggest things when it comes to deposits is you tell, don't ask. Leadership is what gets the deal. And then 2, you give them something in exchange. I know, crazy concept, but I've never seen a sales rep do that out trading thousands of reps. So that's how you get deposit. Go out and close those deals. Appreciate you dealing with my shitty humor. I'll see you in the next one.
Foot on the devil's neck for the law. I'm done tap dancing on tour. No more interviews with the falls. Y'all can't even keep score. I pitched on my Grammy.